حي على الفلاح.
In the end, Allah is talking to you and me. We should have all that knowledge. We should seek to acquire that knowledge. We should seek to have deeper understanding of the Quran. That is part of understanding the Quran. But we should never lose sight of the fact that in the end, Allah is talking to me like, somebody concerned about you talks to you. And somebody concerned about you gives you advice. Allah is giving you advice. And Allah is not talking about anybody else. He's talking about you and me. فِيهِ ذِكْرُكُمْ. In it is your mention. Allah is talking about you. He's not talking about anyone else. When you keep this in mind, we learn something about this surah. Talking about it is very easy. Talking about this surah and its demands is very easy. Internalizing them is very difficult. Every single human being, in their head, they have an understanding of what it means to be successful. Every single human. Doesn't have to be Muslim. Every human being. Doesn't have to speak your own language. Every culture, every society, every man, woman, and child aspires to something that they consider success. For your kid, it may be getting a good grade. Success. For you, it may be a promotion or getting a job or making a lot more money than you do now or getting a certain car or marrying a certain person or buying a house. Whatever it may be, there's something in your head that you consider success. And there are some people you look at and you don't even have to think about it. As soon as you see them, the thought that crosses your mind is, that guy's pretty successful. That one's pretty successful. How did they become so successful? I mean, in other words, you don't have to say it. It's in your head. And let me show you a personal experiment you can conduct. You're driving down a neighborhood, a fancy neighborhood, and you see a really beautiful house. Does your eye stay on it for a couple of seconds? Just, at least a couple of seconds. You may get distracted from it, maybe you even pull over. Whoa, that's nice. Because in your head, you're thinking, that person reached one milestone of success. It's in our head. That is something to aspire for. That's a kind of success. What are we learning from these examples? We're learning that the way we think about success and failure is not the way Allah wants us to think about success and failure. It's completely different. And then when we start rearranging our thinking, we learn something very critical about the society in which we live. And all of this is the message of this surah, by the way. In this society and in the world today, there are certain things that are defined as success, and you are told that that is success over and over and over and over again. In other words, the wrong definition of success is bombarded at you constantly. You cannot so much as turn your computer on, and a banner ad will show you what kind of car you should get. And based on your searches, these are the stores that want to give you, a discount. And the billboard will show you what kind of house you should buy. Advertising in every way, shape, or form being pumped towards you. Even among our parents and our elders, among our youth, what college you should go to, what kind of job you should get, which neighborhood you should move to. Constantly we are being told what is success, what is success, what is success. But then how do we reconcile these two things? What we learn is having wealth is not a bad thing. Having a nice car is not a bad thing. Having nice clothes is not a bad thing. But if you think that is success, then you have failed. What you aspire towards is not dunya. Having dunya is not a problem. Loving dunya is the problem. Allah Azza wa Jalla doesn't talk against the one who has dunya. He talks about the one who is influenced by dunya. وَآثَرَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا. He was, the worldly life, he gave preference to it. If this becomes your preference, you could be very wealthy and still not be in loss. You could do that. And you could be very poor and still have dunya in your heart and you're still a loser. You're still in loss. This is, before we talk about anything material or on the outside, the first concern here is what is on the inside. So that's the issue of success versus survival. And we talked a little bit now about the rearranging our idea, our concept of what is success. Now that we've come to this point, the lesson to learn in this surah is all human beings are in a desperate need to survive. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. Human beings are drowned in loss. Human beings are lost. They're in loss, immersed in it. What does that tell you? That tells you that there are no exceptions. There are no exceptions. Allah doesn't say إِنَّ الْكَافِرَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. Some Mufassirun commented, al-insan ay al-kafir. We'll talk about that. Like the human being, it's referring to the kafir. It's referring to the kafir if he is in khusr at the end. But we find narrations of the Sahaba who were concerned about the first part of Surah Al-Asr. When Surah Al-Asr was revealed, وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ, those who only heard that much said, what are we going to do? Until the exception came and gave them relief. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. So this exception becomes critical because this becomes a matter of our survival. This becomes a matter of our survival. And if we don't address this, then there's no point talking about success. There is no success then. We have to rearrange our thinking in regards to the demands that are being placed on us in terms of this surah. The last thing I want to share with you in today's session, inshallah ta'ala, is imagery. And we'll build on this imagery, inshallah ta'ala, in our next session and go and finish the word by word study and analysis of this surah. And the imagery that I want to share with you is one that will help you understand the larger concept of Surah Al-Asr. Imagine with me that you are drowning. And you are unconscious. Two things. You're drowning and you're unconscious. Do you have a lot of time? If you're drowning and you're unconscious, do you have a lot of time? No, you don't have a lot of time. Which means your time is running out. And in Arabic, what word is used for when time is running out? The word for that is al-asr. And asr literally means time that is running out. It's the last part of the day when the day is running out. It's time of asr prayer. Okay, asr literally comes from asir, juice that is squeezed out, time that's being squeezed out of your hands. Asr al-thawba even it's used. That you take a cloth that is drenched in water, and when you squish it like this, all the water comes out. Asala as a verb is used like that, right? To squeeze it out. So Allah talks about this time. You're drowning, you're unconscious, your time's running out. What's the first thing you need to do to be able to survive if you're in that position? If you hope to survive, what's the first thing you're going to need? What do you think? Wake up. That's the first thing you're going to need. If you're unconscious, then you're finished. The very first condition has to be you have to wake up. And even if you were in the most wonderful dream, and in your dream you were enjoying the greatest success, you're driving a Ferrari down, they have these car commercials with the hills and the highways on the side, the water on the other side, right? You're in one of those cars, the top's been dropped off, and you're just cruising along the highway, enjoying life. That's your dream. But when you wake up, what do you realize? You're drowning. You're underwater. That's the first condition. You have to wake up. Once you do wake up, you say, oh man, this is a nasty reality and I was enjoying such a good dream. I should go back to sleep. If you do that, what kind of person would you be? Insane. You'd be insane. Or someone at least who has no courage to accept reality. Because they found reality to be very difficult, they decided they're going to put themselves back to sleep even though they woke up. Does this person, if he drowned, can he blame anybody else? The one who woke up and went back to sleep? You think? Someone who never woke up, maybe, right? But the one who woke up said, this is not good. And they went back to sleep. They have no one to blame but who? Themselves. They have no one to blame but themselves. Now, let's imagine that they did wake up. What do you have to do next? Oh, it's pretty bad, I'm drowning. Even if you don't know how to swim, will you not use every muscle in your body to make certain kinds of motions to go towards the surface? Wouldn't you do that? And you will make certain kinds of motions that make you go further down, and certain kinds of motions that will make you go up. And once you discover which ones help you go up, you will only do those, right? You will do those. In other words, the first thing was you have to wake up. The second was you have to swim. You have to do something to try to get to the surface. When you got to the surface, you gasped for air, and you got pulled back down. You got pulled back down. And you know who you got pulled back down? You won't believe this. There's a chain around your foot, and your relative, your cousin, is sleeping, and he dragged you down. And now you're drowning because of your sleeping cousin. What do you have to do now? You got to wake him up. And you're not even waking him up because you want to save him. Who are you waking him up for? Maybe you want to save him. Maybe you don't even like your cousin. I don't know, right? But what's the point? The point is you're trying to wake him up because if you don't wake him up, who's also going to drown? You yourself. So you wake him up, and he says, man, I was driving a Ferrari, you woke me up for no reason, I'm going back to sleep. Forget you. Can you just say, okay, well, I didn't like you anyway, suit yourself? Can't do that. If he goes to sleep again, what are you going to do? No, man, wake up, let's go. You can't give up. You can't not accept reality. And you have to keep trying to wake him up until he finally says, okay, fine, what do we do? He says, you say to him, let's swim together. Both of you come up together. The third time, you both get pulled down by your grandmother, by your aunt, by your neighbor, by your son, by your daughter. Does the process continue? The process continue? There's a 4-part process to this people surviving. The first was they had to wake up themselves. Then they had to try to swim. Then they had to tell other people that they're tied to, this is the truth. Let's go. And even if they got tired and one of them said, man, I can't do this anymore. We've been doing this now over and over again. I don't know if I can do it anymore. And the other one says, no, we are all going to survive together. You have to do this. Come on, let's go. Keep going. You ever seen those kinds of movies where they're trying to escape from some army and one of them gets tired and says, I can't run anymore. And what do the others do? Come on, let's go. We can do this. And they get him to run anyway, even though he thinks he can't run anymore.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. If you enjoyed this video, please do share it with friends and family. If you want to see more videos from this series, click on the box at the top. If you want to see other videos, click on the box at the bottom. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thanks.